Welcome back to the Fantasy Waiver Wire. This your boy Tubby. We're back. We are back. Hopefully you missed us. Back with Greg as always. A lot has changed since we've seen you last, especially in the standings.
Yeah. It's like that Stained song. You remember that Stained song? It's been a while.
I mean,
it's been a while.
It's been a while since I've won, and you've been on a bit of a hot streak. Well, welcome back.
Yeah,
to the Fantasy Waiver Wire. It's your boy Tubby. With me as always is Greg, and we are back for another recap and projection all in one today. What's going on, Greg, man?
Well, yeah, like I said, started the season 0-5, and since we took a break with some, life happening, vacations, I was on briefly one of the weeks, but yeah, 3-0, and so sitting at 3-5 now, which isn't bad. I'm sitting there one shot, getting close to the playoff spots. Now my team is just hanging on because, like we were talking offline, I would have lost to everybody else in the league this week,
man.
So hey, but still, a win's a win. I ain't gonna cry.
100%.
Yeah,
we all get them. We all get those wins where, damn, I can't believe I won that week. It doesn't really matter,
Yep.
The fantasy football is equal opportunity. Gotcha. You think you're doing good. I remember I wasn't feeling sorry for anybody because there's been a lot of injuries this year, right? A lot of injuries.
Yeah.
Stephon Diggs just goes down again. Debo leaves in the second half. So there's been so many injuries, and it's all good until it hits your team.
Mm-hmm.
And now when I looked up and I'm like, damn, I'm down both my starting running backs. I mean, one is probably getting usurped anyway with Travis Etienne, but I'm like, damn, I'm down both my running backs. Now DK is hurting. I lose Godwin. I mean, those are some major numbers for me. Taylor, Godwin. Godwin was lightning in the bottle for me. A really good late draft pick that really helped me out and was winning me some weeks. And now I'm in a scramble to even set a lineup. I was kicking myself the other day. I was like, man, it does suck having only 5 bench players. But I said this, you know what? There's always somebody out there to pick up every week, every single week, because you can't really hoard a lot of players. So, Cedric Tillman, my brother picked him up. Great pickup in hindsight. Didn't play him, but he still won. But great pickup. It was some great pickups out there, man. DeAndre Hopkins, he would have never been on the waiver wire. He would have been on somebody's bench and just holding until the trade happens. But he was out there, and Joe was Johnny on the spot to pick him up. So a lot is going on, a lot of injuries, a lot of changes. Now he's on the Chiefs. So
when Singletary went down, I got lucky and snatched up Tracy, and he has been unbelievable. His game against Pittsburgh, now I didn't have him in my lineup, still won. But after watching that Pittsburgh game, he will be in the lineup henceforth because it's that thing with Singletary coming back. He was really dynamic when Singletary was out. Singletary comes back. You got to wonder where the power shift is.
Right.
And I think we clearly saw, even though they lost to the Steelers, that Tracy's the guy going forward for the Giants. If they do not shift the carries 75-25 or 65-35 to Tracy, then they're crazy. He's got so much burst and pickup. So I'm excited for that. Did the whole Bucky Irvin thing, got some lucky on the waiver wire there. But yeah, you're right. I have Diggs. Nico Collins is already down. So you're going to look like as deep as you can on the Texans wide receiver list to try to get that. So this is what we're here for. Tank Dell, if you got, I'm sure he's gone, but whoever else is out there, you've got to really snatch up. It's affecting every team. Yeah. And, I think last year was pretty bad for injuries. This year has been pretty crazy. I think we're maybe seeing a little bit of the effects of not a lot of people playing in the preseason and just getting out. The conditioning is not what it was.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe the players, I don't know. Maybe the players aren't putting in the work that they used to do to keep their bodies in shape. I mean, I just don't know. And so as a fantasy owner, this is like, you got to be quick. And this is the night to do it because you got to have a high waiver wire order. And then you got to make the right picks. You got to make sure you know what you're doing.
Speaking of the waiver wire, here are the trends currently out there. I mean, you would have never seen these two guys up at the top of anybody waiver. Parker Washington and Cedric Tillman was on nobody's sleeper list. before the trade, and all of a sudden everybody comes up off of it. I have Njoku, and once, I think with James, he's going to be way better with Winston, because Winston can throw you in and he can throw you out. But
Yeah,
throw it. You ain't got to worry about Winston throwing the ball. And I think all the Browns players are going to benefit from it. And like the irony is, like, Amari goes to Buffalo and his targets, he only had 3 targets. And then the guy that I dropped, Coleman, he's on the rise. I just don't know.
I think that will even out, though. I think once Amari gets acclimated to Josh Allen, I think we'll see a shift. He is the vet. And right now, Allen's not comfortable looking his way. They have no chemistry yet. Right. So that always takes a few weeks to go. Same thing with D-Hop. We're not seeing a lot on of Mahomes throwing anyway. Oh, yeah. This was, of all the years to not draft him, like, because you like to take him every year. Yeah. This was the best year not to take him. But his numbers are way down.
It came, I have this, how they say, if I have 10 fans, I'm one of them. If I only have 1 fans, I'm one of them. If I have 10 haters, Joe is one of them. If I have 1 hater, Joe is one of them. And if I don't have any haters, then Joe is probably dead. Because and the only reason why he even got him, he's just a troll, man. It's my buddy, man. This is my tech school roommate. We go all the way back 20 plus years, man. But he's a troll, man. He's an absolute troll.
But he did you a favor
to troll me, and it worked out in my favor.
Exactly.
Unbelievable. He was snatched away from me. It's not like I just I skipped over Mahomes. I knew it don't matter. I'm going Mahomes or Allen. But I just knew nobody picks. When I pick my quarterbacks, when I pick Mahomes, I pick him early.
Yeah.
Unorthodox. I pick him early, I just get him out the way. So that's how I know Joe was trolling me, because he never picks a quarterback in the 2nd round. That was just bizarre. So when he did, I said, okay. Josh Allen was right there. Hey, you ain't got to worry about me. Don't threaten me with a good time. I'll take Josh too. Who are you talking about? So he's been probably the only consistent guy on my roster. Besides, Najee Harris has been pretty solid too. Yeah. But everybody else has been all over the place, man, and out the lineup.
Yeah. Speaking of quarterbacks, I drafted Richardson, and it looks like that era is over in Indianapolis.
Oh, yeah.
He had the 1 decent game the first week of the year, and then nothing. I dropped him a long time ago. And then I had a revolving door between Aaron Rodgers trying to hope that they would get something going, and then Kirk Cousins, who had the 150 burger, and then nothing. And then, I've swapped around, and I was lucky that I was able to get Tua concussion.
Yeah.
Because he was out there going into this week, and I had Cousins, and I went, you know what? I'm going to take a flyer on Tua. And then I picked up Russell Wilson, who is all of a sudden 2 weeks in a row having a resurgence in Pittsburgh. And Russ only had 22 points, but he was against a pretty good sack-heavy defense in the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and the Giants are so bad at stopping the run.
Unbelievably bad.
So bad at stopping the run. I'm surprised Saquon didn't run for 300 yards against him. Watching Najee and Jalen Warren tear them up last night. So it's like, so I'm not too worried about Russ being only 22. I think with that team, I think he's found his niche. I'm glad I got those 2 now. I'm hoping my quarterback situation is solidified, and I hope that Tua doesn't get hit anymore. Did you see when he slid?
And they cheered.
Gave a standing ovation.
That's oh man. I mean, if you can get trolled by the Miami crowd, that's a lot of trolling.
That's
because they unbelievable. More power to Tua. Oh, they still lost that game. I see that. I wasn't having a good fantasy day, and not just like, let me turn this shit off. I was way too turned up because I had Chelsea in the morning, Chelsea Newcastle, and that went right into the Eagles game. And I was thinking about you. I was like, Greg got to be losing this shit. You got Arsenal, Liverpool. I don't know where you were at.
I was at home. I was going to go out that day, and I played golf the day before, and my neck was just like tight. So I told my boy, I said, I'm not leaving the house.
Yeah.
So I had a deep pad on my neck. And so I'm sitting there craning. I had 2 TVs going, watching the Arsenal Liverpool. They pulled it out with the draw at the end. I was happy with the draw. And watching, the Eagles start to play. So It was a crazy Sunday. There was a lot going on. There was an F1 race. There was all kinds of stuff. So I needed to have 3 TVs going, plus the quad box for the NFL Red Zone once the Eagles ended. But yeah, it was a nutty day. But yeah, the Dolphins lost that game right there at the end, which is a shame because Tua coming back, they look good, and their defense need some help. They need some help.
Yeah. You want to take this question while I pull up these names?
Yeah, I'll read it out. So the question is: trade Dell for Mostert and Mostert for James Cook. Interesting. So somebody knows that, hey, there's only one really great receiver in Houston, and they want Dell right now. And with Tua coming back, that may mean an uptick for Mostert. But Cook is the man. Cook is the man, in my opinion. And he can dominate a game. So I just on the surface, we're going to look at everything. But on the surface, I don't care that Dell is going to be the guy. I think that's a problem for me with Nico and Diggs down. That means Dell's going to see double coverages and it's just going to be harder on him instead of being the third guy in a three-headed monster. Now he's the guy. So yeah, his targets will go up for sure, but he's also going to get a lot more attention. So he's saying it's in a 16-man PPR, and he just lists who he's got. He's got Dak, HN, Mostert, Lamb. You saw that. DJ Moore. Well, it is Dak for Dak this year. That's a year right now. He's still putting up numbers, but he's throwing the 2 picks were really bad this past week. But their schedule's going to start getting favorable a little bit, so I don't worry about that. But anyway,
they just don't look good.
Yeah, no, he doesn't look great. I guess he's been facing some really good defenses. I don't want to rag on the Cowboys just because they're the Cowboys. He has been facing some really good defenses, and he kind of, when he gets a lot of pressure, he does throw some picks. But anyway, you got HN and so you're looking at maybe putting HN and Cook together. You got Lamb and Moore. I'm not a huge Moore fan. I got Moore, and dude, I'm sorry. That one has been up and down, and mostly down because Caleb can't seem to get him the ball.
Right.
Njoku, Dell. So you would be losing Dell and Mostert. Notable bench guys. You got Downs. That Downs could tick up because I actually, if I were you, I'd start starting Downs this week over Moore. Just saying that right now.
Right.
Because with Flacco getting back in there and Richardson going down, I think Downs is going to pick up. Charbonnet, not bad. Russ. You may end up turning to Russ before you know it either. Caleb Williams, why are you hanging on to Caleb for?
I'm trying to figure out, how do you get this many good players in a 16?
Yeah,
people?
That's a good. Yeah.
I mean, if this was even a 12,
yeah,
man, PPR, that's a good team. How did you get all these good players in a 16? Y'all have no bench? This is crazy. I know you. I see the bench. I'm just joking, but just like, that's crazy.
But the only other receiver besides Dell that he shows on his bench is Downs. So if he loses Dell, he just has Lamb and Downs. So that's tough. But I do like pairing HN because you got HN and Mostert. You don't need them both. I mean, you can't start both Dolphins. I mean, yeah, you're in a PPR league, but do you really want to start both guys every week?
Right.
HN, if he can stay healthy, is definitely the guy you want out of those two.
I wonder if you can get more in Mostert for Cook. And then, because I don't think it's a good time to trade away Chank Dell.
Yeah, I think that that's the point of this. I mean, you could counter with Moore and Mostert. I wouldn't trade Moore and Cook for Moore and Mostert. I'm like, it's Dell or nothing, baby. This guy, obviously, they need a receiver. They know that the Texans are down to 1. So yeah, it's a tough one. He's 2-6. Yeah. Hey, I'm with you. I'm 3-5. So.
Yeah, man. All you need is 7-7 to get in our league, and you'll be okay. So, the guy had Diggs, so yeah, he's looking to give you Cook and get Dell because he had Diggs. I mean, it makes good sense. Man, James Cook, let me get them. He has been an absolute stud for Buffalo this year. Man, I think I'm taking that trade, man. If I can get James Cook, I think I'm taking that trade. Because Buffalo is going to be in it until the end. They're always going to have weeks going on that they really need to play good ball with those 2 losses early in the season. So, yeah, man.
here's what I'm going to say.
They don't have a buy until week 12. So.
Yeah, here's what I'm going to say. If you take that trade, and we both think you should, then I'm going to look at your waiver wire, and I'd be starting down soon because Flacco's is coming in.
Yeah.
So that'll take up some of that Dell. See if you can get Cedric Tillman because he's on the uptick, especially with Jameson there. We just talked about that. Other ones that maybe look at Jalen McMillan out of Tampa Bay. Look at your waiver wire. There's some good wide receivers to be had that are not. And I know you're in a 16-man, so there may be slim pickings, but those are just some names that out there that you might be able to offset the loss of Dell. Don't be sad when his numbers pick up because that's going to happen. But if you've got Cook and Achane, you pretty much got your running back set.
Yeah.
And he's already, do you have his bye week Cook yet? I thought
Cook is week 12.
Okay.
Week 12 because I have Allen, so I've been watching this closely.
That's going to suck if you got to win out to get in the playoffs, but you may not have to win out. You may need to win most of the remaining games.
And I think it's biting me right now, but that was one of the reasons why I let Keon Coleman go. And I was going to get Shakir off the waiver wire last week, but I said, man, week 12, you're going to be hurting because you only have 5 bench spots. Now you have to sit 2 Buffalo players, pick up a quarterback. So I just thought it was going to get weird for me, man, but I should have definitely kept one of the Buffalo receivers, especially going into the playoffs, if they even make it. But he said Sterling Shepard. Let's check on Shepard. Well, I like McMillan better for sure.
Yeah, he came in for Tampa Bay this week, and he's playing slot. He got hurt, but then he came back in the game. I'm not ready to pull the trigger on Shepard. Now, granted, they're hurting in Tampa. Right. Since you talked about Godwin going out, how did that affect your team? How did Godwin going out and Evans going out affect Tampa Bay overall? They went from beating the Eagles badly to now can't beat their way out of a wet paper bag. So that definitely hurts them. But there's guys out there
beat the Eagles the same way they've now losing. We didn't have AJ or Devontae.
Exactly.
So ain't no fun.
No.
That's what I talked about earlier. Like, it's all good when you just show up without your best receivers and expect to still just play flawlessly, and you look good on the other side because you have these guys that you have great rapport with, and they look like that. But as soon as you get that taken away, now you're 4-4.
Yeah.
But the Eagles are still 6-2 because we've been persevering, and they have a good run game too. So that's really anyway.
realistically, the Eagles should be 7-1 for that stupid Atlanta game.
A drop away.
If Saquon makes that catch or they've just run the damn ball, they're 7-1. But anyway, we digress. I would say, like Tubby said, McMillan over Shepard. Jalen McMillan first before I would grab Shepard off Tampa Bay. So,
absolutely, and I picked him up this week as well, just because Baker's going to throw it.
Yeah,
Baker's a gunslinger.
Yeah.
He's just a shorter version of Favre. They may be even the same height, really, but he's just like a Favre. He's a gunslinger. He's going to drop back, and he's looking to rip that ball. Baker's going to rip the ball, man, all game. So a lot has changed going down the stretch. So yeah, man, good luck with that if you make that trade. But if I can get Cook right now, I would.
Yeah,
because one of the things I noticed early with Buffalo was that they're running the ball heavy.
Mm-hmm.
They don't mind if they can depend on Cook and then pepper it around to the other guys, no problem.
Yep.
And I think that's the way they're going.
Well, you know what? I'll say this about Buffalo: it's a change in philosophy that could be beneficial down the road because what we are used to seeing is the quick score offense of Allen and his receivers and tight end, and then they're giving the ball right back to the offense. So they're not grinding up any clock.
Right.
So now they've changed the philosophy where they're trying to mix it up a little bit.
Right.
And you're seeing more Cook than we've ever seen. So I agree. I think it's a slam dunk trade, even though, like I said, Dell's going to pick up, but we'll see how long Diggs is out too. Did they say how long Diggs is out?
I'll check. He tore his ACL.
Oh,
so you know what that is. That's
done.
Dunzy. That's done. You're done, son. We'll see you next year, buddy. You just got to hope you don't break it in week.
I wonder who in the league has Stephon Diggs. I wonder who in the league has him.
Let's see.
It's me.
Oh, that was a little joke. I didn't know you had him. Still in IR. Yeah. Oh, he's been good for you this year too.
Oh, he's been great. He's been great. Just like Nico was, and Nico's gone. So I know.
So who do they have? You got Robert Woods, veteran, but
Yeah, it doesn't
Michi
really wow you.
He was good at Bama. He was supposed
Yeah,
to be a stud coming out. He
yeah,
was
yeah.
really highly touted.
That's actually an eyebrow raise
Yeah.
there.
So I think Michi has to be the next. Remember in the national championship game when they just had to keep putting him in? Remember he was like limping on one leg, and Nick Saban was like, "Go out there again." So it's something special to this kid. So hey, if you're out there, pick up Michi. I may pick up Michi my damn self because he's a stud. But depending on where you're at in the waiver wire, because you got Diggs, you down to Robert Woods. I think he's just probably a good possession receiver right now, but he's not going to blow the doors off. I think the next explosive target is going to be Michi. That would be my recommendation if you're looking for wide receivers for Houston. Cedric Tillman is already off the board in our league, but if you can pick up Cedric Tillman, you should. And last week, was not an was not an anomaly. The week before, basically, soon as James became the starter, he had 12 targets last week, got 21 points, 8 catches.
Yep.
Follows it up this week with a game-winning touchdown, but again, 9 targets. So he's averaging about 10 targets a game, roughly. And as soon as Watson goes down and Amari Cooper gets traded, so I think Cedric Wilson is obviously our wide receiver one. Out
sure.
there.
Yeah.
Which I thought Judy would be, but not so
Judy's not bad, but you know what? He's never lived up to his potential. Now, granted, he's been through a lot of bad quarterbacks in Denver, so
100%.
I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Mhm.
I would take a flyer on Judy, maybe.
In the 16-man league, I would.
While I was looking at my phone, I dropped Stephon Diggs, and now I have to, because I've been so busy. I didn't even realize he was placed on IR and out for the season.
Oh yeah.
I was watching the game last night. Didn't even appear. I've been so busy, dude. It's been crazy.
Yeah, man.
So now I'm upset. Thanks, Fantasy Waiver Wire.
Yeah. Hey, look, Keon Coleman is still out there in our league. I may pick him up. He's been doing well the past couple weeks. 20, getting the ball 7 times.
Yeah. I liked what I see. I think I have a low waiver wire order again.
Yeah. His touchdown was a bit of I won't say lucky. He fought for the ball, but it wasn't like a clean route. It was like like jumbled the ball, brought it down. I think the hottest guy right now is probably George Pickens, man. And that resurgent in Pittsburgh, because he could really blow the doors off. I think he the one him and Joku took me to the championship last year. I just hit lightning in the bottle, had the Mason Rudolph came in, and he knew who to get the ball to, and George Pickens took off. So he's going to have another late year, I think, where he's going to do really well. Zach Ertz, if you're looking for a tight end, Zach Ertz is solid.
Yeah, you can do worse with Daniels coming into his own. Yeah, Ertz is great. Talking about Pickens, though, nothing against Fields, but Wilson's definitely an upgrade. Fields was not getting the ball out to everyone, and Pickens was suffering because of that. So I think with Wilson in the lineup, you're going to see crazy numbers, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And they almost had a great touchdown yesterday. Couldn't get the other foot down. That's a beautiful. It was
good defense too.
Yeah,
pushing him out. Good credit to the defense. Like he sees him, catching the ball. You just got to have the wherewithal to push him out as well too. So that was credit to the defense. But he looks like an absolute monster, man. He's just maturing. He's only 23. He looks like a monster on the field now.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I see him, when I was watching the game, a little bit of it last night because I was just down like 50 points going into the game. Damn. But I seen him out there. I was like, man, 14 looks good, man. He looks tall. He looks strong. He's a dog. Like if it's up to you or him, it's going to be him. Like he's one of those. He's just a dog. I just can't really describe it better than that.
Yep.
He's just a guy you really want on your team, as long as he's getting the ball. As long as he's getting the ball. But yeah, man, Zach Ertz, another guy he could be floating out there.
Yep.
I never noticed he went to Stanford until now. But
11-year vet.
Yeah, man. See who else is out there. Calvin Austin, even the 4 catches, he had a great game overall. Didn't he return the punts? I don't know if you got punt return in other leagues, but man, this dude, So I looked up. I was like, he has the ball. He was doing something great with it. Like, damn.
It's hard to say that that's going to keep going, but
Right.
clearly, so you got to remember when Russ was in Seattle, he had a love for Lockett. It was just like he always looked for that guy. So is that going to be Pickens or is that going to be Austin? And last night it was Austin for sure. So we'll see.
Yeah, man. I mean, he's 5'9", 162. You have to be a special athlete to make it to the NFL. 5'9", 162. Like you have to be just unbelievable. And you saw, especially on the returns, he can really he can really man, it's Cade Otton. We talked about Baker and who he's going to throw the ball to. But he's definitely throwing it to fucking Cade Otton.
Yep.
I can tell you that much. I don't think he's out there anywhere, but if he is, he's a must grab. It was just back-to-back 10 target games. 22 and 32 in our league. So that's where the targets are going if you're looking for Bucks players. Who else is out here? Jacoby Myers is starting to trend up as well, too, coming off. Yeah. Anytime Jacoby Myers has played, if you really look at it, he's only had one bad week, and that was against Baltimore.
Right.
Every other week, it's like he's been solid, considering he would be like a flex option anyway for someone's team. This is a good flex to get 20, to get 15 to 20 in the flex spot on average is pretty good. So Kobe Myers is sneaky, but he's injury prone. So it's always that guy that's up and down, man. All right. What about this guy, man? I picked him up. So I had the number one waiver wire last week, right? Pick him up. And I still think going forward, I think he's going to gain rapport with Purdy. But man, I just hope it goes that way. He's just such a special talent. And I know coming into the draft, I was really high on him, even though, he got shot.
Yeah, but don't try to rob him.
Started season. I mean, so we have Iron Man over here. I just want to see what happens, man. I just want to see what happens going down the stretch with Debo with that second half injury. I don't know. But Debo has been inconsistent, been in and out.
You got Ayuk is out, Jennings out.
Yeah.
So who are they going to throw to?
Yeah.
And now you got Garendo looking like he's back on the up. He's back on. Somebody picked him up. Now he's back on the waiver wire, and he had a good day against Dallas. So does he go off the board again?
It's tough. Rumor has it, McCaffrey, but he hasn't even started practicing yet. But rumor has it, he'll be back after the bye week.
After the bye, and so if that's the case, you got to take a chance if you're going to take Garendo because he may not see the field or much of it if McCaffrey gets back out there. It's kind of interesting, Mason's been banged up, but it's kind of clear that Garendo's kind of supplanted him considering the injuries. But now with McCaffrey coming back, we just got to see if he stays healthy. And again, in our league, you can't stash anybody. Or maybe I would stash Garendo and say,
right,
I'm going to put him off to the side in case McCaffrey gets hurt. And then I know I got a stud running back. But can't do it in our league.
Yeah, man.
Because our commissioner.
Hey, the only thing I wish I could change, I'm not mad at that. The only thing I wish I could change is that when you're doubtful, you can be put on the IR. It just takes too long to get the out designation.
Yeah.
So it just slows down the teams. Like, for instance, DK Metcalf. All week, I know DK's not playing. I know he's not playing, but I can't even put him on the IR. Doubtful all week. Can't put him on the IR. I didn't want to change the settings because it was my situation. But when I looked at it, like, man, I gotta change this. But then in my other league, you can't even put somebody on the IR unless they are designated IR. I'm just like, that's weird too. Because look, I had Taylor out for 3 weeks. We know he's not playing, but the team won't put him on the IR. So I'm just dragging ass with a player on my roster that we know is out. So I don't like that in my other league. But yeah, man, I love it. I love the 5.
Yeah, it's fun
because it keeps us active. I do. I do. It's like a gift and a curse. But it keeps players on the waiver wire, and I love it, man.
Well, it's that you got an extra flex too, so it evens out. I don't mind the 5. It's just that you cannot stash anyone.
Yeah,
they have to be starting or be waiting in the wings to start. You can't take a chance and hold on to somebody. It just don't work that way.
I was going to pick up so when I was looking at the waiver wire last week, I was like, man, I got McCockley in my other league.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, man, because I watched that Arizona game and I was like, Herbert really likes this guy. Maybe I should play him. And I picked him up, but I didn't play him. But so I was on the fence between Parasol, Ladd, and Shakir, and I went Parcel. So I don't know, but this guy, man, is he out here? He's definitely he's like the number one guy out there.
I think so on most boards as far as wide receiver this week, as far as waiver wire. Yeah,
yeah, man.
Cedric Tillman up there, but also McConkey if you can get him. He's
Damn, what else we have going on around the league? Fucking Cortland Sutton.
Mm.
Man, I mean, he went from getting me a 0 burger. I didn't play him in this league, but the other league I did. So I was obviously frustrated and sat him, and then they did the opposite. 11 targets. And he even threw a fucking pass. Yeah. I'm like, God damn, how you go from 0 to throwing passes?
Carolina.
Crazy.
Carolina will do that to you.
Hey, you can do anything you want against them.
They got Baltimore this week. Yeah, I wouldn't start him.
But Baltimore is last in the league. They've become the Eagles in their secondary. They're last in almost every category in the passing.
That's pretty interesting. Yeah.
They can stop the run, but you can throw on them easy.
Yeah.
So I'm actually more inclined to play him this week because even though they have Kyle Hamilton back there, dropped a huge pick. You could tell he was gutted from that, man. He wouldn't let it go. I'm still mad we got Jordan Davis instead of him. But anyway, I just because when you have talented DBs, you gotta pick them up. You gotta pick them up, man. And the Eagles did that well this year.
Yes,
our top two DBs are looking like, I won't say they are the top, but Mitchell has. Dijon is playing really well. I know it's Dijon, but he's in Philly. It's Dijon. Just for y'all out there, it's a nickname because he's in Philly. We know it's Dijon. But that kid from the Ravens, like Wilcox or something like that, he's real skinny. He's a monster. He's a rookie too. But I like our rookies, man. I like our rookies.
I like our rookie corners, and I'm glad that Dijon is seeing the field. I also liked what Rodgers was doing. I talked about it a little bit over text.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Slay did have a couple of pass deflections, but where Slay always seems to let me down is like those quick passes where he doesn't make a great tackle. Where Rodgers was when Slay went out, mm-hmm. Rodgers I thought performed really well. I thought the whole defense kind of in the second half just kind of lifted up. Yeah. And I say all respect to Slay, I like seeing youth out there, mm-hmm. and I thought that seeing that youthful version of the Eagles defense in that second half against Cincinnati just really shone. I thought Dean had a pretty decent game. Carter looked good. I was impressed.
Yeah, now, Slay had that really big knockdown on 3rd and 6 in the end zone. It was huge. It was huge, man. Because is that the one they missed the field goal, or they take the field goal there? I think they
took the field goal there.
They took the field goal there, but then they missed it on the next one, which ended up being huge for us. But no, I got you, man. I just think they cover. I think so if you look at every defensive back for the Eagles, they all do something different a little bit. So you have guys that can. I think Mitchell can cover just about everything. He can cover lateral and vertical. You got Slay. He can cover vertical. He can cover you lateral. He can stop those slants because he's long. But if you have him sit back in zone, he's not inclined to tackle. Then you got guys like Dijon who they were getting beat laterally. You know, you can run across them and you can see 32 or 33, but they can tackle coming down. So it's just like, so then you put Rodgers in and you see, okay, what do you get from that? If he can do both like Mitchell, then absolutely you have 2 stud corners. Because the big thing of taking Maddox out and putting Dijon in, the tackling, Maddox is there too. Maddox, he can cover, but he won't finish the play, and he'll get injured on top of that. So it was really nice to see guys tackling,
right,
and not just breaking tackles after breaking tackles, and they're covering everything in front of them. And I love Mitchell and Rodgers on the sides that were taking out those 9 routes. They were taking them out, which is good, man. That's good. Dean has been stepping up. He's been tackling like a monster. Still a little suspect on covering, just like Vaughn a little bit. And don't get me wrong, Bengals got lucky when they got Nolan Smith out there on their best receiver. How the hell does Nolan Smith end up on Jamar? Anyway, I'm not going to go down the Eagles rabbit hole, but the defense play has been stepped up. Everybody on the team has stepped up. I think anything that we've asked the Eagles to do, I think they've been doing it. We asked them to stop letting everybody throw on you. Okay. Last 3 games, granted, some of the teams are ass, but they stopped that. We asked Jalen, stop turning the ball over. Last 3 games, no turnovers. Just so happened we have 3 wins in there, and then we asked, spread the ball around, hit the middle more. That 3rd and 16 was huge. So I think not, stop with the low percentage throws to the outside. You only see maybe one of those to AJ, but the most part, it weren't a lot of those, and everything and be more decisive in the backfield. He would take off a lot sooner than normal, and it just worked. Everything just kind of worked. And then he went on that 10 to 12 completion streak, and I think they started to back up, and that's when you bring Saquon in that 4th quarter. And because Jalen's on this 9 to 10 at the time completion streak,
right,
you have to respect the pass. Now, boom, all of a sudden you got 26 really fresh in that 4th quarter. And that's the Eagles team that we saw go to the Super Bowl, man. That can just play every phase, and they've been doing that. But that was definitely the best performance overall against a good team, because who you beat matters as well too.
Without a doubt. I will say this: I live here in Ohio. I've never been enamored with the Bengals defense. It is very suspect. They do not play good defense. But if you beat Burrow and Chase, now granted there was no T. Higgins, but if you beat Burrow and Chase, you're doing something. So they're struggling this year, but it would have been worse if the Eagles would have lost to them on the road. And a lot of people picked the Bengals to win that game. So it was a good upset. And I think this next week against Jacksonville at home, we kind of underperform against Jacksonville. Okay. So I'm interested to see how well they play against Doug Peterson. And then the big one, on the road at Dallas is huge and will make a statement. After that, they go on the road to Washington. And that's going to be a tough game in and of itself.
Oh, yeah.
But I think that they need to win. If they win Jacksonville and Dallas, then the road game at Washington is important. But if you lose that game, it is not as serious. I'd rather take Jacksonville and Dallas and lose at Washington. I'd love to win all 3, but I'm just saying.
Man, I don't want to get ahead, but damn near every game, with the exception of Baltimore, because Lamar, man, every time I watch Lamar play, I'm like, he's really that fast? Or he's really that, he's just a different athlete. When you see him amongst the rest of the athletes, you like, man, this guy is different. He just moves different. And I hate to say this, but it's like Jaden Daniels is starting to look like that too. Like, man, this guy is just.
Oh, Jaden Daniels is already.
They're both real slender, right?
Yeah,
they're slender, tough, and can really launch the ball, man. Yeah. And but all these games, man, we're catching Dallas at their worst.
But they are getting Micah back. They're getting some guys back for that Eagles game.
Just confidence
with the Rams, though. They looked really good this past week. They were getting ready. They were on the trade block. They were looking at trading Cup. They were looking at, could they get rid of Nakua? Could they get rid of Stafford? Then they win that game,
right?
And convincingly. And now it's like, we're right in the thick of things in the West. And now those guys are off the table, because it was rumored that the Eagles were talking to them about Cup. Could you have imagined?
Oh, my goodness.
Cup in the slot for the Eagles,
man,
and them winning that game has changed that. So I'm more a little concerned about that Rams game.
Oh yeah, well,
so much defensively.
Not sleeping on any team. It's just what we have versus what they have. Can we compete?
Yes,
with them, and I believe we can. We can compete with all of these teams.
Yeah, I agree with you.
The only team that scares me is Baltimore, because look what Lance Bass did to us this weekend, running all over us. Did you hear the commentators call him Lance Bass?
Lance Bass.
He said he went from Eminem to Lance Bass, Iron Eagle.
Yeah, I did hear that. The frosted tips, man.
East was fucking crying over on the couch. Like, did he just call him Lance Bass? Anyway, I digress. But he was running on us like crazy. Yeah, Lamar will destroy us. Daniels will destroy us if we allow that.
Yeah, that wasn't great. They got that under control in the second half.
Baker did it too.
Yeah, Baker did it. So I think, like you said, I think every single one of these games are winnable. And I think more some than others. So if they, get out of this with only 2 or 3 losses the rest of the way, then you're in, and you probably got a really good shot at the division, depending on what Washington does.
I was hoping that Hail Mary, we're a Hail Mary away from being first in the division.
Dude, and you've seen the video of the dude taunting the fans and everything. Unbelievable. Taunting the fans that he's the one that goes over there and tips the ball into Noah Brown's hands.
Yeah.
Dude.
When he probably had Noah Brown to box out.
I'm just saying, he'd been cut this morning.
Oh, man.
I'm just saying, somebody had to be the scapegoat on that. And I don't care how talented he is, you have to make a statement and say, here's your play, turn in your playbook, let's go. Because that was unbelievably bad.
Yeah.
But granted, now that was the first team since like week 1 that I've seen contain Jaden. And I think that they've so when that happens, granted, the Bears defense is
rib injury as well. Have to note that.
Yep, that's true. That is true. But they set the blueprint a little bit for what you have to do. So other teams are going to take notice. The thing with Jaden Daniels is that he's got that X factor that teams haven't figured out yet. Jalen Hurts had it. When that year we went to the Super Bowl, there were people still trying to figure out what he was doing. League catches up to him a little bit, then you got to reinvent yourself. And that's what Jalen's kind of doing this year. You notice that, yes, he takes off running, but he's not exclusively running. We're not doing that much of the RPOs anymore because the league's caught up to that. So I think with Jaden Daniels, it's like, I still think he's an exceptional talent. Same thing with Lamar, but it's like, well, we've got to start now of maybe how to contain this guy. And the Eagles better be like in the lab picking apart that Chicago game.
Right.
Because up until that Hail Mary, that was going to be an L.
Yeah.
But
Cliff is calling a good game. He's calling a good game.
Definitely.
The ball is getting out quick. Since we've been talking about both the quarterbacks, they got the new dude over there in Baltimore. And that ball's coming out quick in Baltimore. They had a lot of drops too. I was like, God, you see what they do? Pick up Deontay Johnson,
right?
Off of get him off of Carolina. I mean, that's an indictment on the roster when you go, you know what? Give me somebody else.
Zay Flowers has not been what they wanted him to be, and it really hasn't since he's come into the league. He's kind of been just. I don't want to say he's more reminds me a little bit like Aguilar, where he's okay. He'll get you a catch here and there, but he's not what we wanted him to be.
Route running. So when you got guys like Zay, little guys, they like to stay away from Cleveland, right?
Cleveland's defense is horrendous.
Right. So when you have guys like Zay, I seen this one clip where Lamar could have thrown him a touchdown, but it was like, who the hell knows where he's going to be at? Like he ran like 100 different, and it's Lamar sitting back there like he just throws it. Like, where are you going to be? I don't even know where you're going to end up at. And you get this a lot. You've seen in the Pittsburgh game last night where Van Jefferson, huge pocket to sit down. He keeps running. Russ throws it right where he should have sat down at. Yeah. The commentator picked it up immediately. Like, he's just supposed to sit down in this hole, and Russ is going to hit him right. Where are you going? You're going to the defense. This massive hole, and Van Jefferson just running across. So I just think, that rapport and not knowing where guys are going to stop at. He's like a top, man. You just don't know where he's going to stop.
That's a good point. Yeah.
And you see that a lot. I think that's the problem with John Ross. When we had him there, I watched a few plays, and you go like, what route are you running? When are you going to break? Nobody knows.
Anyway. It's true. John Ross ran himself out of the league.
Right. And Zay Flowers could do the same thing, because if you don't know where this guy is going to be, it's a problem. So I think that's what makes guys like Devontae and AJ, not only because they have exceptional talent, but you can count on where they're going to be for the most part. So I think that's the Zay problem. But he's still an incredible athlete and can blow the doors off at any. He can hurt you, but he just needs its space, and they just got to continue to work on their rapport. Only 2 years with a lot of injury time.
Like I said, I think that's why the Johnson deal happened, because they needed some a consistent weapon. Will that be Johnson for them? We'll see.
Flacco, man. Flacco, if you're looking for a quarterback, I may pick him up in week 12 against Detroit, because it could be a shootout.
Yeah.
Just because Detroit they're just rolling. They're They're just
This
hot,
week
man.
might not be the week against Minnesota, but Minnesota, 2-game skid. They lost to Detroit, then they, turned around and had to play right again against the Rams, and they didn't look good. It was a good game, but their defense had started the season kind of lights out. And then now I will say this, that seemed like a different Rams team. Nakua and Kupp healthy.
Yeah, they do look good.
Blocking, and then you get Kyron Williams going. That's a dangerous team that I do not want to see.
But man, I have to say it. I thought the Rams got every third down call.
Oh, for sure.
All of them. There was at least 3 times where they were supposed to get off that field. Flag, and you're like, another flag? Another passing? So they got a lot of help in that game as well, too, that got them going. And then, if you get Stafford going, he's going to hurt you. But
and the face mask at the end of the game.
Huge too.
I was when the face mask happened and the
no call. There you go. Calls for you and the no calls.
Ref looking right at it. I was like, and all the other calls. And I don't like to be that guy, but that you're right. That was a That's they're in LA. They're SoFi Stadium, state of the art.
Yeah, man. It's a big call to miss.
You're playing against a marquee team, and the Vikings, again, I don't want to be an apologist. They did not get any calls, including that face mask.
None, man.
So,
and
that was bad.
And I can see how the white hat, because he's at that angle, he can't really see it. But that the line judge,
oh yeah,
how do you not? You're how you have 2 in the backfield in deep now. How do you not see that? I mean, it's literally at your angle, and then he goes over to the sideline. McConnelly's like, "What do you mean you didn't see?" He's trying to make an excuse.
Yeah,
that was horrible. That was horrible. So
that was one of the most.
The Rams got a lot of calls, but you're right, man. Puka and Cooper, but Puka mainly. Puka looks like a dog, man.
I thought they both looked great. I thought Kyron looked great.
Oh yeah, Kyron.
They got to step up a little bit on defense. So I think that the Rams, from that standpoint, you could beat them in a shootout. It's because they're going to give up points, but we'll see. It was a interesting resurgence.
Kyron is. Jesus Christ, 18, 17, and Jesus Christ, every week he is a monster right now.
Solid. If you did the redraft right now, it would look totally different. It would be Derek, it would be Kyron and Saquon right there, 1, 2, 3.
Man.
And McCaffrey wouldn't even get drafted until like the 7th round.
Man.
I don't know about that, but probably around the 4th or 5th. It's crazy. Yeah, they had a really great game. Coming back off the injury is big. And like I said, I'm kind of disappointed because had they lost that game to the Vikings, I think that Coop would have been an Eagle. I think he would have been in green, but it didn't happen. So we're going to move on. I don't know what it would have cost the Eagles. That was the key, was that, he's 31 and they wanted a 2nd rounder, and there's no way how he's given up a 2nd. He might have given up a 3rd.
Yeah.
For Kupp. And I think that he might have been able to talk to him.
I don't know. I don't know. Considering that we gave up a 3rd for Dotson, why not give up a 2nd for Kupp?
Yeah.
Is it upside because Dotson has more years, but he's 31. So I get you there. But if you can still run routes, I mean, look at Adam Thielen. He's still a good possession receiver. And he's a good blocker too. Cooper Kupp can block, man. Cooper Kupp and Puka can block their asses off. So that's, I don't know, man. These guys you got to have in the locker room if they're around. Yep. I would have loved to have Cooper Kupp for sure. It would have been unreal.
I'd have given a 2nd rounder if it would have got us closer to a Super Bowl. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
It ain't gonna happen now because they freaking Vikings couldn't get the job done.
Yeah. I think a lot of people was counting on the Vikings. Like, come on.
Yeah. I mean, well, the Vikings themselves were looking at trading for Stafford. Now, I know Sam Darnold's had a pretty outstanding season, but just the rumor that was going around was interesting, that that they were looking at bringing in Stafford to lead this Viking team. And why wouldn't you? I mean, you got Justin Jefferson. Right now, you've got a really good defense. You've got a shot. You were undefeated up until 2 weeks ago.
Right.
And Darnold's fine. I thought he's been adequate this year. You can look at it.
Yeah.
He's had
Darnold's been solid
against the Jets,
Oh yeah. Yeah, man.
Other than that, who hasn't had a tough game against that Jet defense?
Right. Aaron Jones.
Yeah.
He has a solid running back too. I think he's looking for like that other receiver because
Really, yeah.
he can go between Naylor and Addison.
Addison, yeah.
He can kind of go back and forth. Addison, I've been high on, then low, then high, then low. It's just he's
like
just
his
really
fantasy score,
inconsistent.
high, low, high, low. That's Addison, man. You
Then
can't count on him week to week. Jalen Naylor's, yeah.
Another guy that's like, eh. So it's like Justin Jefferson doesn't really have that other person that can really offset. And then who's there? Hawkinson. How's Hawk been doing this year? I haven't even. Oh, he's not even okay.
No, he is expected to play this week against Indianapolis.
Oh, I may have to pick him up. Oh, you got him. Look at you, you dirty dog.
I was gonna say, I wonder who has him.
How long have you had Hawkinson?
About 2 weeks. I picked him up when he was supposed to come off the pup.
October 15th.
Yeah, 2 weeks. I picked him up when he was initially supposed to come off a couple weeks ago, and then they delayed it. And then they had their bye, and they said, okay, he's coming off against Indy. So
he's holding your IR spot, I take it?
Yeah, he's in there right now.
Got you. I'm like, ooh, that's a lot of
well, I had
but it makes sense.
Who did I have in there? I had somebody in there that went out like right out the first week, and then I didn't. No, I actually don't think he played at all. Who was it? It was for the Chiefs. Who am I thinking of?
For the Chiefs? Hold on. You talking about Hollywood?
Yes, thank you. Hollywood Brown. I had Hollywood and drafted him. And because he was on the IR, I put him right into the IR. And then they were like, he ain't never playing. So I dropped him and put Hawkinson in there.
Yeah, that's a good stash right there.
Yeah, that worked.
It's picked 15th.
Well, we'll see. My other tight end is Ferguson, who's not been bad. So I just really Ferguson had been injured. So I really had a kind of volatile tight end situation. So yeah, I went ahead and picked up Hawkinson. So hopefully that works out for me.
Yeah.
I think Hawkinson will definitely help the Vikings out quite a bit,
right?
With that receiver problem, and it could help Darnold out quite a bit too.
Yeah, man. What you think about this DeAndre Hopkins pickup for Kansas City? Man, I was iffy on getting him, but I don't know. I think they'll mature into having a good year, but Mahomes is just not really throwing the ball like that, and Mahomes has been suspect all year.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with him, but I don't know. I mean, but he's been solid fantasy wise. I mean, man, and they haven't lost yet. That is crazy, man.
Defense is amazing.
Look, I mean,
they gave up that interception to the Raiders on the goal line and kept the Raiders out of the end zone. That's ungodly.
A pick a week?
Yeah.
A pick a week per week.
Yeah.
2 sometimes.
Yeah, it's not been good.
I didn't know it was like that.
No, it's not been good. I've watched a lot, and it's like, ooh. And the defense is solid, and he makes just enough plays to win the games. I think D-Hop, again, just like with Amari Cooper, let's talk in like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And we'll see what their numbers are. I think that it's probably bad for the rest of the league that D-Hop is with Mahomes, because Xavier Worthy, like that first game, he was solid and fast, but he's not Kareem Hunt. I think they're not Kareem Hunt. Tyreek Hill. He's not Tyreek Hill. They have Kareem Hunt. He's not Tyreek Hill. He's not, scooting down the sidelines and making these great basket catches. He's just not doing it. He's fast, and they're getting him involved in the offense. I think this week it was probably one of his first double digit, and he's had 11 and 12. It's just not been stellar numbers.
Right. Yeah, man, he could be a boomer, but I think he's another one of these guys that their routes, they're so fast. Sometimes you don't know where they're going to end up. And he doesn't want to take a hit either. So he's small, but he's definitely a dynamic player.
And I think he'll be great in years to come. I just don't think he's what they need right now is dealing with the rookie wide receiver with Rashee Rice going out. It's really tough on Mahomes because they thought they had that solidified with Rice and then Worthy coming in, and then they didn't. And then Kelsey's had a down year. So he had his first touchdown was this past week.
Something's going on with them two, man. This is not like them.
Yeah, it is strange. So
this
they're hanging out
like
too
them,
many,
really only
Taylor
2
Swift
weeks.
concerts. Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. I will tell you this. When players get distracted, you can just tell. Like you can just, because, the Kelseys alone, the Kelseys themselves, him and Jason, They're on everything. I just seen them on like a Cinnamon Toast Crunch commercial or some shit.
They're doing the whole cereal thing, yeah.
Yeah.
And now Travis is hosting a game show.
I didn't know that.
Smarter? He's hosting Are You Smarter Than a Celebrity? And now it's okay
Travis?
for Jason. Yeah. It's on Fox. It's like Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader, but they're doing it with celebrities now. And I think they taped it in the off season, but he did that all in the off season. And then you got the whole Taylor Swift thing. And I'm not down on his relationship with Taylor Swift. Go love who you love. But we see it with a lot of pro athletes too. It's kind of funny. I thought it happened a little bit with Wentz. Granted, it was the injury. You see it when these single quarterbacks or big wide receivers come in. They're all about the game, and then all of a sudden they get engaged. And it doesn't matter if it's Taylor Swift or whoever.
Right.
Next thing you know, they're just not as dynamic as they once were. Right. Not that they're bad. It's just that, man, they come in with so much fire those first 3 years, and then some lady gets their hooks in them, and they're good, but they weren't as great as they could be.
Good thing Travis caught her when he was already a legend.
Yeah. I mean, 11 years in. So come on.
He's already is a legend. Yeah. Did add another Super Bowl onto that, but him already being a legend, I just thought, he has a lot going on. I mean, he's 35 too. I mean, let's not act like he's a spring chicken. 35, and them hits, you get up off the ground a little bit slower. But I think there is something to like a lot of off-season activity.
For sure.
You bring it in. I thought after the Super Bowl, Jalen had every endorsement known to man.
Yeah.
After that, get your new contract. You got your girl now. He's always been with her, but you just see a lot of stuff going on. Then I thought he came in a little bit heavier coming into the off season. He's doing all these photo shoots. Every time you see him, he's not doing football stuff. The world loves you. And then you just kind of come into that next year. Then you catch that knee injury, and I think people underplayed the knee injury that Jalen had last year. It was a pretty nasty injury, and it just completely slowed him down. But he looks lighter this year. He looks a little bit quicker this year. I still think he's a lot slower than when we first got him. But he's been running his whole life.
I agree. He's not super fast,
right?
But he can be elusive.
Oh, for sure. For sure. He broke somebody's ankles this weekend. Oh my God.
I think the season getting off to the start it did had a lot to do with nobody playing in the preseason, and it was just a little chaotic. We've gotten to play some bad teams, and so we've gotten some really good practice in to get ready for the good ones. So I think that'd be good. One thing I'll say about Travis real quick before we get off of Kelsey is it would not surprise me if we don't see him in like a final year in like LA out there with T Swift, with T Sizzle, just
think so? Wow.
It just wouldn't surprise me. You know how Gronk went to Tampa Bay and did all that thing. 1 year he goes to LA just to, to be in the glam and everything like that. And then he retires and the two of them just live that Hollywood life. But whatever. I think what Jason's doing is great. I'm glad that he's doing well. People love him. People have loved him since, for years. And over the last few years with the Taylor Swift and the podcast and the Super Bowl where they both played against each other, I think it's been great. I heard today that they're offering him a late night, like a ESPN show, like a talk show kind of deal.
Really?
And I think that would be awesome if he did something like a late night ESPN talk show like they do with Scott Van Pelt.
Yeah, so, man, Scott is a legend on the late night. When I saw Jason, I'm be honest with you, man. I said, man, that dude like he needs a break.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've been seeing him obviously on the Monday Night Countdown. Sometimes, he had his Peaky Blinders on, his Peaky Blinders outfit on. But I was like, he doesn't look like an extrovert. Like he still has some introvert to him because you can kind of see him sometimes like, oh, it's so many lights. He just seemed like a really simple guy.
Yeah.
Real simple dude. And I think this is a lot this is more Travis speed. Like what they're doing with Jason is more like Travis speed. And I was just like, sometimes I see him, I'm like, man, you need a break, man. Just because you just retired after the incredible career and you didn't really still get that break.
Yeah.
Just to kind of chill and relax. But you got to also strike while the iron's hot. Yep. Swift have these, I think Taylor Swift is like the key factor in their boost.
Oh, for sure.
For like all the other things.
Yeah, for
You
sure.
get your podcast bought. I think Taylor Swift has a lot to do with that because they're getting listeners that they've never had before. It's all about metrics, man. It's all about the numbers. And right now, that Kelsey name, no matter who you put behind it, you can put Donna Kelsey behind it. It's going to sell right now. You see Donna when she was going to the game, they all cheering her on the plane. They all know who she is. I think she was on the cover of Vanity Fair.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. And then you got Kylie, Jason's wife, who got a huge boost, and she's everywhere now.
Yeah.
It all has to do with the fact that she's in the booth, the luxury box, hanging out with Taylor Swift, and it could be the future sister-in-law. Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, people hate on it. I think people like to hate on things just to hate on them. I don't hate on it, but I will say, like we said, that comes back around to football. What is it doing for football?
Right.
And right now, you can't argue with the numbers being down for Travis and Patrick. And part of that is because they don't have another threat. Mm-hmm. Maybe D-Hop's that threat. We'll see. I think that if you're a worthy owner, it's not, you're not going to give up on him because he's got this potential, especially now if D-Hop's there. Maybe Worthy gets some open looks, and because I think Reich going out was like a huge blow to anything Worthy was going to do. So yeah. Now I will say this: who would have thought on their bingo card we would have Kareem Hunt with a resurgence with the Chiefs after the way he acrimoniously left that team years ago, couldn't get the contract, goes to Cleveland, and comes back to Kansas City and playing outstanding.
He is, man. 27, 22, 21 attempts a game. Yeah. I guess that's a lot, man. And he's been doing well. He's been doing well.
Big reason they're winning. Right if you got run game and a defense, and you can win games, and that's where they're at right now. So yeah, it's an interesting team, the Chiefs.
I think what's holding the Chiefs up is their leadership, from Andy to Patrick, Travis. I think the leadership there, and Jones on the other side, they have guys that have been there. Yeah, Humphreys, like they have guys, man, that have
know how
seen
to win,
it, done it, and can hold a locker room together.
Yep.
And that's key, man. I think that's what we may be missing in the first part of the season with Kelsey, just the leadership, and BG, man, has been stepping up big time.
Yes.
BG made, to me, one of the biggest plays. I know DeJean made the fourth down stop, but we expect anybody, and man, that was a bad play by Cincinnati. That was horrendous play. Yeah. But good tackle by DeJean. But BG stopping them on third down, I thought that was huge, man, because we're getting nothing from our edge as far as like stopping the run. And BG has made some really key play for us this year. And it's 16th season or something crazy like that. Played more games in the Eagles helmet than anybody. Shout out to BG, man. He's Eagles legend.
Yep, without a doubt. Michigan player.
Yeah. Love it. There you go, man. We can go ahead and get up out of here. See you guys next week, next Tuesday. I'm not even going to do it on Thursday if you can't go.
That sounds good, yeah. I got Halloween. It's Halloween anyway, so.
Yeah. You got anything before we get up out of here?
No, happy Halloween to everyone. Hey, if you got a chance on YouTube, look up Box Office Battles with Greg and Eric. We're coming up in an hour with our Halloween special. We are covering the top 4 horror comedies of all time: Shaun of the Dead, Zombieland, Young Frankenstein, and Dale and Tucker versus Evil. Go head to head. Who is the best horror comedy? Nice. Who knows? We'll cover it tonight.
Nice. Cool. And good luck to everybody out there. I'm trying to get back on my grind, get some wins, back down in 5th spot. And we'll see you guys next Tuesday.
Sounds good.